The Lumicrest Wireless Dimming System is an easy way to control white LED strips and bars. It allows you to place a remote virtually anywhere you like, without the need to run wires to the dimmer. The system uses PWM dimming in a quick and simple setup. You can have one or more dimming receivers controlled by a single remote. For example, if you have under-cabinet kitchen lights on either side of your kitchen, you can put a dimming receiver and a power supply on each set of LEDs and pair them both to the same remote. What's more, you can even have up to 8 remotes controlling one dimming receiver for multi-way switching. For example, you might want to put a remote at each end of your hallway. It's simple to use and set up. Connect a suitable 24-volt power supply to the dimming receiver and the receiver to the LED strip. Press the on button on the remote and see if it already controls the light. Sometimes we'll pair the units for you before shipping if we know your configuration. It's important to note that when we say a power supply is non-dimmable, it means that the driver cannot be dimmed at its AC input. We use these drivers for wireless dimming because the receiver comes after the driver's output. Picking the right power supply for LEDs is important. We will come back to this toward the end of the video. To pair a remote to a dimming receiver, briefly click the learning key on the receiver, then click the on button on the remote. The LEDs should flash to confirm. If not, keep watching and we'll help you troubleshoot. Once it's paired, the top left button of the control dims up, the lower one dims down. The bottom large button is off and the other large button is on. There's also a little square Scene button in the middle that lets you save your favorite brightness setting. Set the dimming to your desired level, then press and hold this button until the LEDs flash. That dimming setting is now memorized. To recall that setting, just click the Scene button. If you want to add another remote to control this dimming receiver, do the same thing again. Briefly click the learning key, and then the on button on the remote. Now both remotes will control it. You can keep doing this for up to 8 remotes. Now, let's say you want to reset the dimming receiver so it's not controlled by any remotes at all. Simply press and hold the learning key for about 10 seconds. The LEDs will flash, and now no remotes will control the light. To pair it again, it's a short press on the learning key and a short press on the on button. Now it's paired. Although the system is simple to set up and use, here are some quick tips in case you need them. Pairing. Short press on the learning key, short press on the on button. You can pair up to 8 remotes with 1 or more receivers. Unpairing. A 10-second hold on the learning key. Make sure the blue LED indicator light on the remote lights up when any buttons are pressed. If it doesn't, check that the battery protector has been removed. The battery should last a very long time, but if you think it might be weak, you can change it quite easily by sliding the back cover open. For 12-volt LED stripper bars, you need to connect a suitable 12-volt DC power supply. For 24-volt LED stripper bars, you need a suitable 24-volt DC power supply. The wireless dimming receiver can work with both 12 and 24 volts, but please don't connect 120-volt power to it or you will blow it and any LEDs attached to it. This system only works with low-voltage DC-powered LEDs, such as flexible strips and bars, not regular light bulbs. We usually ship the dimming receivers with wires pre-attached with plug-in DC barrel connectors for your convenience. If you prefer to connect your wires directly to it, here's how. The 12 or 24 volt DC power goes into this side. Make sure the positive goes to this terminal and the negative to this terminal. The screw terminals are a bit tricky. When you loosen the screw by turning it counterclockwise, the bottom plate goes down. Insert the wire into this newly formed gap and turn the screw clockwise. The bottom terminal comes up to grab the wire. Make sure you're not clamping onto the wire insulation instead of the stripped wire conductor. Same thing for the output to the LEDs. Make sure the plus is going to the positive for the LEDs and the minus to the negative. If for some reason you connect the power supply to the output side of the dimming receiver by mistake, and the LEDs to the input side, the light will still go on, but you won't be able to control it with a remote, because the dimming receiver itself won't be powered. Or, if you connect the correct terminals but with reverse polarity, minus to plus and plus to minus, the LEDs will still come on, but you won't be able to control the lights because the dimming receiver isn't getting power. The remote has a small blue LED that lights up when you press any of its buttons. If you don't see this light come on, first make sure that the plastic battery protector has been removed. The battery should last a very long time, but if you think it might be weak, you can change it quite easily by sliding the back cover open. If you pair the remote to the dimming receiver and press the on button and get no response, just press and hold the dim up button until the light brightens. The receiver may be dimmed to 0 even though it's turned on. Be aware that the remote and dimming receiver communicate to each other by radio frequency, so while they don't need direct line of sight to work, try to place the dimming receiver within a reasonable distance from the remote without too many metal impediments in between to interfere with the signal. Occasionally, you'll find the remote won't work reliably in certain positions due to radio frequency interference from other signals. Try to find a suitable location by moving the remote a few feet away. You might want to mount this remote together with other switches in a multi-gang wall plate, but we've found that the wiring behind it can interfere with the radio frequency transmission. If you experience this, you'll need to mount it in a separate location. Choosing the right power supply for LEDs is important. There are two approaches to dimming LED linear lights. You can either dim the power supply itself, or dim after the power supply. AC dimmable power supplies can be dimmed at the 120 volt AC input, while with non-dimmable power supplies, the dimming happens at the low voltage DC output. We use non-dimmable power supplies with our wireless dimming system because we connect the dimming receiver to the power supply's output. And that's everything you need to know to work with our wireless dimming system for LED strips and bars.